Hello and welcome to my guide to Tank Shinobi. I'm the Mechanic Critic, also known as Melrath on SpiritVale, and I hope you enjoy. Tank Shinobi is a very powerful build that's easy to pilot and doesn't need you to kite around. It has great AoE and mobbing capability, and uses elemental weaknesses with its conversions to deal bonus damage to mobs. Of course, it's not perfect, it has a lack of single target DPS, needs you to manage its rotations well, and needs to make use of the CTR from Shadow Seal to be effective. This build focuses on using a rotation of Shadow Seal, Summer Release, Black Blade, and Binding Spiral for DPS. All the while, your defensive stats have 4 layers: Dodge, your defenses, your HP pool, and Leech. This lets you stand literally in the face of monsters and just throw spells at them and beat them through a battle of attrition. Your time to kill for any individual monster will be slower than most DPS builds you're used to. But unlike many of those builds, you can literally just walk into giant groups of enemies, face tank over 20 of them, and then kill all of them with your AoE damage, all without having to dodge spells, kite around, or do anything fancy. This means that even if it takes you longer to kill any individual mob, you're killing 20 of them at a time, so the efficiency is still there. Once you understand that that's how this build works, the rest of the build, the equipment, the stats, and skills will make sense to you. So keep that in mind as we talk about the build. Now, before we go into the actual build itself, it's very important for me to note that when it comes to the stats and all of the items that I'm showing you, do not copy them one for one. Not only are my items not completely optimal yet, I haven't had the time to grind them all and put them all to +10. It's also really important to note that substats are not consistent. You might get a really cool item with certain substats that I didn't get. That's okay. What matters is that you understand what stats you need and what stats the build uses to function. If your substats fit those stats, you're fine. You don't need specific substats or specific items. What matters is you understand the principles behind why I chose these things. I'm separating the stats into 3 tiers. Tier 1, Tier 2, Tier 3. This means that anything in Tier 1, you're really happy to have. Anything in Tier 2 is a nice to have. Anything in Tier 3 is not necessarily strictly necessary, but if you can get them, that would be nice too. Here are your Tier 1 stats. Intelligence, which gives you magic attack, mana regen, and magic defense. Vitality, which gives you HP and defense. Perfect dodge, which allows you to dodge physical attacks. You want to have at least 50, but try to aim for 60. Leech, which allows you to lifesteal and sustain during fights. You want around 15% leech. Secondary stats: magic attack, defense, magic defense, and HP. So basically you want magic attack for damage, and you want all the other ones for tankiness. You want at least around 30,000 HP, around 120 something defense, and around 200 magic defense. We'll talk about more why that's important later on, but just remember that those are your breakpoints. And finally, your Tier 3 stats are cooldown recovery so that you can cast your spells more often, buff duration so that you don't have to manage your rotations as strictly, and then spell reflect, which makes it so that you can tank more single target spells, because rather than eating the damage, you just reflect the damage to them. Note that when you reflect a spell this way, you don't take the spell's damage at all. It will all go to the caster, which makes it really funny when an auto-cast, auto-attack build tries to hit you, and they end up killing themselves instead. Now let's talk a little bit more about the gear after we've learned about the stats. First one is the Ghostly Hat. The Ghostly Hat is a very powerful headgear that gives you all resistances and perfect dodge per refine. This is very powerful as it allows you to get more tanky stats out of your headgear. It has a Void Gazer card because we cast a lot of spells with this build, and even if we can tank the damage, taking the damage still interrupts our spells. So we want to keep our rotation smooth because we need the lifesteal to not die. Next up, we have Snowbun Earmuffs. Snowbun Earmuffs give us a lot of HP, which we need to get to that around 30,000 HP threshold. And very importantly, I got lucky and I got a bunch of magic attack on this earmuffs, so I'm gonna use it until I find something better. We have an Ember card in here, and this is very useful because it gives us HP regen, which makes us live longer, but also MP regen. This build casts a lot of spells, like I said, so you will end up running out of MP if you don't have enough MP regen somewhere in your kit. So MP regen is also very important, that's why I've put it here. Green Shell gives us magic defense and defense, 2 stats that we really like. And again, we have an Ember card for HP regen and MP regen. I've found that around 150 to 170 regen per second is more than enough to sustain the build so that we don't run out of mana in the middle of a fight. So keep that in mind. Next up, for the armor set, we have the safety gear set. There's a big reason why we want to run the safety gear set. The Zombie Orc Lord card gives you slow, curse, frozen, and bleeding immunity. Really amazing, just prevents you from getting slowed and stunned. So why are we using the safety chest? The safety chest gives you all resistances, and it gives you the safety bonus of plus HP and plus MP. Again, very important to reach those thresholds. And for substats, you'll see that I want perfect dodge, I want vitality, damage from magic, etc. You just want more defenses. Safety legs, again, same story. It gives us immunity to knockback. So now we're immune to casts getting interrupted. We're also immune to knockback, and we have perfect dodge from the substats as well as the gold tail card, which gives us perfect dodge plus 5. Finally, we have the safety shoes for the armor set. This gives us immune to flinching from damage. This is kind of counterproductive because the card in it, the Cactus King card, has level 5 Endure and plus 10% HP. Lots of HP from this armor set. The plus 10% HP and Endure is really, really powerful because Endure is a buff that Paladins and Knights usually have, which gives them bonus defense and bonus magic defense, as well as immunity to flinching from damage. So now we are unable to be interrupted in casts, we can't be knocked back, and we're immune to flinching from damage. This basically means nothing will stop us from doing any of our rotations. We will just keep going and going and going until they die or we die. And we know that 99% of the time, they'll be the one who's dying. Of course, to complete the safety set, we have our safety gloves, which gives us defense, HP, and magic defense. Again, just all stats that we want and all stats that we need. In the card slot, we have Health Leech plus 5, as well as Health Leech plus 5 from the Night Fang Stud. Both of these give us that very wonderful bonus leech, as of course the leech from our pants as well. This gives us 15% leech, which allows us to lifesteal a bunch. If you're a tank build, you don't deal a lot of damage, so you need a large amount of leech to offset how much healing you can get. Because if you're already dealing like, 500,000 DPS per second, right? You don't need that much leech because 5% of 500,000 is an insane amount of healing. But because our DPS is low, again, we're a tank, we need higher leech so that we can leech off our lower damage and still heal a lot. With our full rotation, we are lifestealing around 3,000 with this build, making it very, very powerful. And you might notice that I've put the bomb card, and I also have attack speed on my boots. This is important because you have skill delay. Your skill delay affects how fast you can cast spells between spells. Think of it like global cooldown in other MMOs. This means that even if I have 2 spells that are off cooldown, if I cast spell 1, it'll be 0.3 seconds, equal to your skill delay, before I can cast spell number 2. So having a high amount of attack speed lets you lower your skill delay, which means that you can effectively cast more spells in the same amount of time. The lowest your skill delay can go is 0.3 seconds. And also, the cannot attack part of bomb card is very useful because sometimes when you're using your skills, you might accidentally auto-attack or click on something, which will interrupt your rotation and interrupt your casting. So you don't want that to happen, and so this is a really good solution for that. But again, the attack speed is also really, really good. Last and definitely not the least are our main weapon as well as our shield. Our main weapon is the Codex Umbra. The Codex Umbra is a very powerful item that has a lot of awesome buffs and a lot of awesome things about it. Number 1, buff duration. We want that. Skill Splash allows you to hit targets that are seemingly nowhere. Like, if you look at some of the footage that I'll put on screen right now, you'll see that when you cast something like Black Blade, the animation will end, but because of the Skill Splash, enemies far off, far away from where you threw the Black Blade will get hit. It almost looks like a bug, but this means that you can aggro mobs from very far away and force all of them to walk towards you, which is really good for how this build tries to farm. Next, we have level 5 Shadow Strike, not very useful. Healing, again, not very useful. So a bunch of skills here are going to waste. Why are we using this? Because we have level 3 Conviction Aura. Level 3 Conviction Aura gives you a buff that lets you stack Might. Might gives you plus 1% damage per stack you have. And whenever you hit something, you get 1 more stack. The unique mechanic that Shinobis have over Paladins is the fact that when you create your clones spawn in with Conviction Aura. This means that if you are a Shinobi and you summon all 3 of your clones, it would be as if you were in a party with 4 Paladins all activating their Conviction Auras together. This means that as a Shinobi, you can perma-stack Conviction Aura such that by yourself, without any friends, you can get 25 max stacks on 100% of the time. This is very powerful because that's plus 25% damage that no other class has access to. That alone makes Codex Umbra worth it. But there's more. Because we're a tank build, we can get hit a lot. And that means we get to cast level 2 Wide Curse when hit. So there's a 7% chance right now, but of course when you level it up, it'll be 10% chance to do Wide Curse. What's Wide Curse do? All you need to know is that Wide Curse inflicts curse onto everything. And for all of you people out there who use Banishment Field, this is basically the same exact thing. It lowers everybody's magic defense when you hit them. Very powerful when some of your damage is magic. And your clones also activate that 1+% Wide Curse when hit. This means that when enemies kill your clones, there's just a 10% chance that they Wide Curse on death. Very cool synergy. Last and definitely not the least is the Vampiric Mage Guard. The Mage Guard, of course, gives us bonus cast speed. Not that useful considering our Shadow Seal, but it gives us bonus magic defense. And the card, the Ruby Gazer, allows us to autocast level 2 Life Drain. Again, we're getting hit a lot. Life Drain, when cast, just life steals from a bunch of things, which circumvents the can't be healed from the Zombie Orc Lord card. But because we are a Shinobi, we can Mimic Seal Life Drain so that when we autocast it, it autocasts Life Drain level 5. With this build, it allows you to lifesteal essentially a lot of health. With a 30,000 health bar, I can lifesteal maybe 1/5, 1/4 of my health bar. So that's around like 5,000 health when you cast it on some mobs. And that's casting it manually. Remember, every time you get hit, there's just a percentage chance that you will automatically lifesteal from everyone. And again, your clones do the exact same thing. Let's move on to artifacts. The Veil Ward set gives you a lot of magic defense, as well as chance to reflect single target magic. Why do we index more on magic defense than defense? That's very simple. Perfect Dodge allows you to evade most physical damage. So by just having 40-50% Perfect Dodge, around half of all physical damage doesn't reach you anyway. So you don't need as much defense because you can already treat yourself as having twice the amount of defense that you actually do, right? Because if only 50% of the damage ever comes in, then it's like you negated 50% of all incoming damage already. So you can treat your defense almost as if you had double the amount of defense. And that's why we want as much magic defense as possible. Because magic defense, we can't dodge that. Well, we can, thanks to our Shadow Mastery spell dodge, but magic deals a lot of damage, a lot of endgame mobs deal magic damage, and you can't evade it in any other way. So it's much more important that we have magic defense to prevent ourselves from getting one-shot. And that's why we're using the Veil Ward rune set. For gems, it basically doesn't matter outside of your evasion gem as well as your Black Blade gem. Now let's go over skills. I won't spend a lot of time talking about skills that don't matter, so let's just talk about all of our buffs and all of our rotation. So we end up using Blade Mastery to get bonus attack speed, and that's all it's good for. We don't use any of the other weapon types here. So remember that the plus 10 attack speed, plus 10% attack speed from Blade Mastery happens even if you're not equipping any of the above weapons. Very good. Shadow Step is used to just get around the map very quickly. You want to be able to teleport in to big groups of mobs so that you can make your rotations faster. Cloaking, we're getting max level of this because we are using Shadow Trail as a Grimoire. And very importantly, if your cloaking's not max level, you'll get slowed down while you're invisible. So that's why we have it at max level. We have Multi-Strike, not because our build uses Multi-Strike, but because I just have extra points to spare. So you can put this anywhere else if you want. Lightning Reflexes is a buff for attack speed, and Flee. Again, both good for defense as well as making our spell damage rotations better. We get max level Venom Coating so that we can apply poison with all of our spells because Black Blade and Binding Spiral both apply poison when we hit with them. So that's very, very key. Finally, we have Smokescreen, Haste, and Cure. Smokescreen allows you to put down a smokescreen, which just makes you even more tankier. So it just reduces the crit and flee and hit of everything in that smokescreen. It's kind of disgusting. And if you have this at max level, the duration is around 11 seconds and the cooldown is like 5 seconds, something like that. So it means that you can have a lot smokescreen up permanently. You can basically tank anything if you have smokescreen up and the current setup. Haste gives us bonus movement speed and agility, again, both useful for moving around the map as well as your cast speed. And of course, Cure, because getting poisoned as this build sucks, you need all the MP regen you can get because it's the only way you get MP back. So you don't want to get poisoned. That's very, very good. Let's talk a little bit about the Shinobi skills. We have the most important Shinobi skill ever, Shadow Seal. A lot of people have mixed feelings about this skill, but the most important part of this skill is not just the clones. It is the fact that it gives you Cast Ready. Cast Ready is a buff that makes it so that you have 90% cast time reduction, which is the maximum you can get, for 4 seconds. This means that as a Shinobi, cast time reduction is a useless stat for you. Okay? You have maximum cast time reduction already built into your kit for free. So all you have to do is cast Shadow Seal, then spam your spells. But Marco, it has a cooldown. There are 3 charges to this spell. At maximum level, this thing has a 12-second cooldown. This means that if each cast ready lasts 4 seconds, each of your charges is 4 seconds. 3 charges, 4 seconds, 12 seconds. This means that by default, you just have 90% cast time reduction. Just remember that, that's awesome. Of course, there's a lot of extra stuff that you can do with Shadow Seal. Your clones amplify your damage, your clones work with your Conviction aura. There's a lot of cool mechanics there, but for the purposes of your rotations, that's why Shadow Seal is important. We have Ninjutsu Mastery for bonus magic attack, MP and MP regen. We have Shadow Mastery, which gives you perfect dodge, movement speed, and spell dodge. One of the few instances of spell dodge in the entire game. And I'm not even kidding. I think only Breeze Guards give you spell dodge. So as a class, we just ignore 30% of all spell damage. That's awesome. That's awesome. And one of the main reasons why we want to play Tank Shinobi. I have 5 stats in Silent Edge. Silent Edge is very useful because it gives us crit damage and crit. Marco, you cast spells. Why would you care? Because our main damage dealers, let's talk about them now, are Black Blade and Binding Spiral. Black Blade shoots one of the most powerful abilities in the game with just a 1-second cooldown. This thing is a ranged damage physical attack, which means that you can crit with it. And that's very powerful. Note that even if it is a physical attack, it scales off magic attack, which just means that even if we're building pure int, this thing still deals a ton of damage. And this will basically be around 50% of all the damage you deal. So make sure you use Black Blade. So Binding Spiral is much the same thing, with less damage but more AoE and CC. Binding Spiral shoots a shuriken out in front of you, sucks all enemies in, and then hits them repeatedly before exploding and freezing everything. So this is a lot of crowd control, this is a lot of extra hits, and unlike Black Blade, this thing applies hit effects. This will be very useful when we talk about the releases. But all you need to know is that when you cast Binding Spiral, it is still a ranged physical attack that scales off magic attack, which means that your int buffs this thing and it can crit. Very powerful, very awesome. Note that there's a combo finisher mechanic on both Binding Spiral and Black Blade, which means that you need to combo ready it, and that's where all of our releases come in. Combo ready is a mechanic that just makes all of your combo finisher effects deal 50% more damage, which means that we need a combo ready in the rotation to make it work. Fire Release, Ice Release, and Lightning Release are all basically the same skill. They cast a spell on the ground, they give some sort of buff to you, and they do some other effect. All of them, their release effect, will convert your weapon to a specific element. Fire converts it to fire, ice converts it to water, and lightning converts it into wind. This converts all your weapon damage. Now you might see where this is going. If you use Ice Release, your Binding Spiral and Black Blade will now both deal water damage. Same goes for Fire Release and Lightning Release. This means that depending on what map you're on, you can just change the element of your entire skill rotation to abuse weaknesses. Very, very powerful for this build. Also important is the chance to auto-cast Ice Bolt, Fire Bolt, and Thunderbolt when attacking. This is where the build gets really interesting. Binding Spiral can trigger on-hit effects, and it can also trigger auto-cast effects. This means that Ice Release will let you trigger Ice Bolt. And why is that useful? Because Ice Bolt, when you cast it, also gives you Water Attunement, and Water Attunement gives you bonus water damage. Same with Fire Attunement for fire damage, and Wind Attunement for wind damage. This means that if you can find some way to autocast, which we are thanks to Binding Spiral, you just get plus 10% elemental damage for free, out of thin air. And so that is why our rotation is to Shadow Seal, cast a release, Black Blade, and then Binding Spiral. We want to just spam those three skills over and over again until our cast ready goes away. Then we use Shadow Seal again, and then do that rotation all over again. There's still some skills that we haven't discussed here. Elusive Feint and Twist of Fate. Long story short, they're extra iframes. Just use them for iframes. Last and definitely not the least is Mimic Seal, which allows you to copy anything you want, which makes Shinobi one of the most versatile classes in the entire game. But for us, all we're using it for is copying Life Drain level 5. So basically treat this as Life Drain level 5. Life Drain is very powerful. It's basically another heal, but it deals damage. And that's all we use it for. And that is my guide to tank Shinobi. Again, this isn't a guide telling you that you need to use these exact skills, these exact weapons, these exact gears, and these exact cards. What's more important is that you understand the principles behind why each of these things are being used. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, please put them in the comment section down below, and thank you so much for watching my video. And I hope you enjoyed my Tank Shinobi build. I'm planning to do a lot more stuff and do another update after this, but hopefully this gives you a good understanding of why this build does the things it does and why I love it so much. So, without much else to say, thank you so much, and goodbye.